Clayton. I'm really excited. I got to talk today with John Waterman, the historian, singer-songwriter, great guitarist, and just really nice guy who is going to be joining us here on the internet on Tuesday evening, April 21st at 7 o'clock for a program on a journey through the roots of American popular music. We'll be live streaming on Zoom. It will also be broadcast on the library's YouTube channel, which you can find by just going to YouTube and looking for the Thomas Crane Library. You can find us and know it's us because you'll see our iconic crane. There are also links from our calendar, which you can get to from thomascranelibrary.org. Just go to the front page, and it should be streaming, showing on the upcoming events, which you can see on the left side of our homepage. We'll also have a Facebook event. There's going to be lots of ways to find it. If you do come and visit us on Zoom, if you get there early, there will be a waiting room. Anytime you actually get there will be a waiting room. But I will admit you as soon as we're ready to open the show, which will open a few minutes before 7 o'clock. And look forward to seeing you there. Please enjoy my conversation with John. Thank you, John, for joining me today. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you, Clayton, for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we get to kind of go into each other's homes and enable you to be in homes all across Quincy when we can't all gather together in a room. These are crazy times we're living in.
It's crazy times, and that's a nice way of looking at it. We all get to know each other as we are casually, I guess, a little more than we would. You know?
Through distance we actually we can lose some of the pretense, and we just have to be ourselves, because what else is there left?
Right. Through distance we become closer together. It's
an interesting paradox.
Yeah.
And some of what you're going to be talking about in this program is all about how music has brought us together, which in some ways awesome is that it's through song that can be shared even remotely through wax or whatever different types of recordings there are, that we can share common experiences. I don't know, is there a segue here between how we're apart but bringing closer together, how, sharing music, and we've had recordings of music, but how even music itself as an instrument enables us to share stories across time even. I don't know,
I think music, popular music gets what I think of as popular music, and that's the music of all of us. That's whether it's small towns, cities, country, different regions, professions, whatever it's and whether it's commercial or more homespun, because there's no clear line between the two. It's all music, and I think what that does is that tells our stories. It's a way we have of telling our stories, our collective stories, and our collective experiences, and our individual experiences that then become collective. And so really it's the music of a people it's part of what forms their identity as a people. It's part of what makes us a culture, And I think there's other things that make us a culture too, but that's a big function of popular music, and we do very much have a culture. It's we have experiences in history that we share, in some for good, or in some cases for not so good. But we're still sharing it. We still have those experiences.
Absolutely, and it's in those shared experiences that our culture is forged and celebrated or recognized. It's not always something we need to celebrate. Sometimes it's things we have to grapple with and come to the truth of.
Right, acknowledge and
acknowledge. Yeah.
But celebrating can be taken in more than one way. You can celebrate. We've come to think of celebrating as a festive thing. We celebrate a holiday, but there are holidays that are not happy occasions. There are events of mourning. So you can,
recognizing.
Yeah. So
and then like there's whole parts of music that we can think of that are not about a happy. There's the blues, right? Such an American icon that we find comfort by going into some of the hardest places in our hearts, and its hardest humans experience, but and people who don't hear, why would you want to go into that? When did you first get into the blues? How did you develop a relationship with that kind of music?
Oh boy.
I know that's a big question.
Yeah, it's always hard. I just love the music.
Yeah.
But I love all music. I think, you know, I grew up, you know, my father listened to music. He had some records, not that many, and no blues records, but he liked artists like Louis Jordan, and some of those, what they call it, some of the early combos that were basically the roots of modern R&B, you know. And he appreciated, you know, he liked Billie Holiday, he liked stuff like that, he liked jazz. And so I was already listening to music, and then because of that, at one point, it was actually through a library. You know, we would go to the library when I was a kid, and I would check out records. And
actual, like, vinyl.
Huh?
Was it actual vinyl? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm a vinyl person.
Yeah, I can see. You got a collection right next to you. Yeah.
That's just a small part of it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets to be kind of unwieldy whenever I have to move around. But,
it is not light. There's something about carrying, you know, our music collection in our phones that, like, it may not have the same, you know, experience. You can't enjoy the cover art or the liners or, you know, but it's a lot easier to move.
Yeah. Anyway, so
but
I checked out some library. I checked out a record at the library that was it was different sounds of the 20th century, and it was interesting because it was a 2-record set, and the first record had some songs from World War I that I thought were just absolutely fascinating, and you know, a song about the Lusitania and Over There and stuff like that, and you know, just the style and of the times. And then I'm listening to the second side, and I knew about some of the big bands, so there was some stuff I was familiar with. And then there was this song, this guy I'd never heard before. Heard of it was Hellhound on My Trail by Robert Johnson.
Oh, a classic.
I was a little kid. I was probably like 6th grade or something like that. And it got to that song, I was just like, wow, this is just really cool.
You lined up and said, where can I sell mine? That's great. Where can I mean, the whole story about Robert Johnson selling his soul at the crossroads.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, saying, where do we get in line? Give me some of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was one of the most awesome things I'd heard. So that, you know, led eventually.
That opened a door. Yeah.
Led to listening to a lot more blues, and, rock blues, you know. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I gravitated towards, but I listen to everything, really.
Yeah. And so you got a wide, very promiscuous listening, which I think is very good. Do you find yourself playing a lot of different things, or do you find when you play that you gravitate towards certain styles of music as well?
I tend not to, or try not to, interchangeably think about style too much when I'm playing, and it's just about the song and whatever it happens to be. Sometimes I'll consciously aim for something and it comes out to not be that, or people don't hear it that way, and you know, I'm just it becomes more about the song and the performance and what it takes, and try. I'm not a big fan of labels. And that's
way too often constraining, not liberating. Yeah.
That's what I like about the term popular music. I kind of believe that there is just music, and it's all music, and it's you know, there's different influences that seep into it and different experiences that different people have had, but we're all human. we all have the same feelings, the same souls, and we all find a way to share that stuff through songs. You know? And,
I'm reminded, around the turn of the millennium, Richard Thompson did an album of 1,000 years of popular music. I don't know if you're familiar with that collection that he did. He tried to take popular music from, like, Gregorian chants through, you know, there's lots of coffee in Brazil to, you know, I don't know, up through, I think he did like a Britney Spears song as well. And he's like, this is all popular music. This is music of the people. It's a beautiful thing.
Good. Yeah. You know, now that you mention it, I have heard of it. I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
I have some. I have a number of Richard Thompson albums. I don't have that one, but I had some friends. Like, Was it an album or was it a show he did?
I heard, I did not see it, so I heard it recorded in some fashion.
Yeah.
I've looked for it a couple of times. I'm not sure it's on a lot of the popular music platforms right now. Like I don't
Right.
think he makes it available on Spotify. You could probably find it on YouTube some
It
corner somewhere.
probably doesn't fit into enough of a label for them to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I actually, my son was telling me of a playlist that somebody he knows put together that he was following that was all of the different, it was one song for each label that Spotify categorized as music, but it was just one. So it was like three, you know, however many hundreds of songs long but each one representing a different genre, which I thought was kind of interesting itself to try to, you know,
Yeah.
pick a representation from each genre, but to put it all together. So,
I think that's how it should. I love that idea.
yeah.
Have it all be together, and I mean, but it's also, it's nice to be able to focus on something for a while. Say, I'm going to just listen to the Stones or just Dylan or just.
Well, yeah, and when you get into the blues, there's so much like, or like such a like, jazz as a label. What does that even mean? Sometimes, I mean, to think about, everything from the Hot 5 and 7s and what Louis Armstrong was doing, 100 years ago to through, I mean, shoot, you just look at Miles Davis and like the 7 different revolutions or whatever that he, was responsible for. It's the same music. How is this like? It's all music. It goes back to what we were saying before.
Right.
Is that like these labels really don't mean anything when we're communicating musically? It's just communication. It's ideas in a nonverbal form. Sometimes the lyrics.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think there's on some level, I guess there's an advantage to being able to group things according to, I want to listen to this kind of style. I mean, it's helpful for songwriting or performing. I want to focus on this. But other than that, other than being able to fit your personal needs at a certain moment, labels, a lot of it's unnecessarily dividing us.
Yeah.
A lot of it's separating things into, like, I don't know, different groups of people and stuff like that. It's not necessary.
Sometimes what matters is, can I dance to it? Or is it something that I can go to sleep to?
Yeah.
Like it can serve a different purpose, and so you can classify them in those kind of ways and have wide variety within those kind of classifications. So.
Yeah. I think I read. I think it was Duke Ellington, and jazz band leader, that a lot of people have been nudging towards being almost like a classical composer over the past,
right.
Yeah, since his death. But I read something that while he was alive, he said, I'm just doing folk music.
Yeah.
Which I think is it's a pretty cool quote. I assume it was something along those lines, but yeah, that sort of sums it up. Interchange folk with popular. I prefer popular because it doesn't have certain ramifications to it that folk does. But
right. So how do we go from this? This common understanding, but it still has roots. So when you do a program like you're going to do for us about the roots of American popular music, we're talking about the roots of American popular culture, and you're drawn from a lot of different elements. So can you help us understand the framework? How far back are you going to go when we start talking? Because if we're talking about like the history of music, we can't go back 1,000 years, and as a people, since we've been able to record and share sounds with each other. But we're talking distinctly American culture.
We're talking distinctly American. So I do make mention of, songs imported from Britain. So we go back to the 18th century.
Okay.
And so, a lot of
we bring songs from Britain that then percolate here and then get forgotten, go back and get rediscovered by some guys in England, and they bring it back again.
Yeah, no, more or less. I mean, I don't delve into a whole lot of traditional music. Most of the program's original songs. So it's about. I mean, there's a couple traditional songs in there, but most of it is about stories or characters, stories being true events, things that happened. Places like Dockery Plantation, that was it's considered one of the birthplaces of the blues. So there's a song about this location. And, I talk a little bit about some of the folks who live there and why Dockery is considered one of the
cradles of...
one of the birthplaces of the blues. I talk a little bit about the song "The Unfortunate Rake," which was the 18th century English ballad that found its way into this country, and what happened to that song when it got here, and how it evolved into the form. There was actually a couple different forms that we know of now. At least there's more than that, but two major ones. Stories like that, and then there's some other stories about individuals or songs even that affected our lives, or not our being with a capital O, as people.
Collective American lives.
Yeah. Or individuals. A woman who once told me a story about a song that had a certain meaning for her that she, when she was younger, heard during World War II. Songs about iconic individuals like Jimmie Rodgers, the singing brakeman, who was hugely influential on a number of different styles of music and a whole lot of performers. So these are all part of the foundation. I mean, we could have endless. There's an endless possibility of stories.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about the roots, but we have a forest here.
So. Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, the most important thing is really always entertainment. I think good stories, or stories that are relevant to our lives and our experiences, can be entertaining and still be relevant. And I'm not a teacher. I'm a performer. So to me, the important thing is to make it entertaining. Try to make it fun for people.
John, I think you're being very humble. I think there's a lot of education that happens in entertainment too, that I appreciate, and I think that's a really important perspective. That and we should celebrate that in ourselves. And so it's good to feel good. There's a reason it feels good, right? And we can appreciate the intellectual places that we go, but we can also just appreciate that we're here to exist and experience this together. And just that common experience can be really joyful. So I appreciate you helping us share that with the city of Quincy and across all your work. So thank you, John. It's really a treasure to be able to work with you and help bring this passion for entertainment and our culture to a lot of people. I'm really excited to work with you to do this.
Thank you, Clayton. I'm really excited to work with you on this, and and thank you for this opportunity to present this show. I think it's a really good show. I think people will really enjoy it.
And I think so too. Thanks, John. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with John. My name is Clayton. I'm really had a great time talking with him, and I'm looking forward to his program. Just to remind you, it's happening on Tuesday evening, April 21st, starting at 7 o'clock. We'll be meeting and joining with you on Zoom. There will be a waiting room. If you join us there, when you come, just wait in the waiting room, and I will admit you. We'll be opening the room a little before 7 o'clock. Or you can watch us on YouTube, where it will be live streamed. Just go to the Thomas Crane Library YouTube page and look for our live stream when it's happening. Again, that will happen on April 21st at 7 o'clock. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Quincy Public Library will be streaming my show, The Roots of Popular Music in America, on Tuesday, April 21st at 7 p.m. I hope you'll check it out. Here's a song of mine called The Green at Lexington. I hope you enjoy it. This 19th
day of April, 5:30 in the morning. We met a rebel mob that of our coming had been warned. They had gathered in the pale first light of the rising sun, and they tried to face us down upon the green at Lexington. They numbered around 40. We were numbered many more. We were fit and polished as the uniforms we wore. They were raw and they were restless, and someone fired a gun, and 8 of them we killed upon the green at Lexington. When the smoke had cleared away, their blood alone was shed. Nothing do they have to show for the wounded and the dead. And surely there's a father somewhere who will mourn the son who gave his life in folly on the green at Lexington. The main road along the fields and farms, and in the town of Concord we'll secure their store of arms. Then we'll return to Boston and our work will be done, and they'll lay to rest those fallen on the green at Lexington.
Library Director Megan Allen recently spoke with QATV's Joe Catalano to share more about what we have available online while our buildings are closed.
I'm Joe Catalano, and although, of course, the Thomas Crane Public Library is closed due to the coronavirus crisis, that is not stopping them from reaching out to their patrons to offer some new online services and programs, and also to encourage new folks to utilize the library as well. So the director, Megan Allen, is joining us remotely as well, this new normal mode of communication, Megan, to chat with us about what the library is doing during this unprecedented time, really. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and it's delightful to see your face. I think one of the things everyone is struggling with is the loss of our regular routines and seeing the people that we normally see. So nice to see you.
Hopefully we can do it again in person real soon. But in the meantime, this will have to suffice. Let me ask you before we start about your online services. How are you, personally and professionally dealing with this situation?
Well, it's been very challenging because all the library staff are at home, so we're scattered. And although we were beginning to prepare for this eventuality, we were far from ready. So there have been many logistical and technical challenges that we've been tackling virtually, having lots of video meetings over the last couple of weeks. Luckily, we already had many resources available online for people. Really, the challenge is helping people use those resources because not everyone is familiar with them. So, as we like to say, our buildings are closed, but the library is still open, and our staff is still available to help people. So that's kind of the message that I'd like to get out, that we have many regular visitors to our buildings. Something between 10 and 12,000 people a week come into our buildings. So I'm sure it feels like a loss for a lot of people. They can't come in and get their books and their DVDs and just use the space, see our friendly librarians. And many of them probably have never used an ebook before. And we want to make sure those folks are aware that we're here to help them learn how to use those.
Sure. I guess we should just first logistically, we should remind folks that the main branch and all other branches are closed, correct?
Yes. Yes. And right now it's closed for an indefinite period because, like everyone else, we're following the guidance of the public health professionals and the governor and the mayor, and so we don't know when we'll reopen. So we're assuming it's going to be for longer than anyone wanted, and so we're not waiting around to open again. We're working really hard to step up our digital services and assistance for people.
Sure. And for materials that are due while you're closed, Megan, is there a reprieve for that?
We have suspended all of our fines, overdue fines, and we've extended the due dates. Basically, nobody has to worry about that. We'd like people to keep the things they have at home. Our book drops are open and we're checking them, but it's better to just keep them at home for now. And we will not be charging overdue fines on anything that's out. And I'm sure that after we reopen, we'll probably have a long fine-free period afterwards because some people will still be at home, or reluctant to come out when we reopen again.
Right.
It's so hard to predict what things are going to be like after we reopen, but certainly people don't need to worry about fines or charges now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was important to get that out. Maybe some folks were concerned about that. Also, I'm guessing that the bookstore at the main branch is also closed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what you are doing, which is tons, actually, as much as really technologically and humanly possible during this time. What are some of the key features that you'd like folks to know about?
Right. Well, just like when we're open, we have resources for people. We can provide help to people, and we're also planning to do some live programming as well. We haven't quite gotten there yet. So basically anyone who has any kind of device, computer, laptop, tablet, e-reader, smartphone, and internet access can use many, many free resources through our website. And some of them you need a library card for, but if you don't have one or you forgot or you can't remember your number, there's a way to sign up online for a library card too.
Okay.
So basically, anyone in the community has access to all these resources. So we have ebooks and e-magazines and e-audiobooks. So if you like to listen to books online,
Great.
We have streaming music and also streaming movies, documentaries, educational courses like the Great Courses. So if you want to learn something while you're stuck at home,
Yeah, I'm wondering how many people are going to learn a new language during this time.
I don't know. I was talking to one of my supervisors yesterday, and she said she's been trying to learn Spanish and it's been slow going, so she's really going to focus on that during this period and see if she can
why not?
step it up.
Get the downtime, sure. And we should, I guess, kind of start to show folks if we can. It's thomascranelibrary.org. That's the website to go to.
That's right.
All these services are free. Is that right?
Yes, they're all free.
Okay, and also the Wi-Fi is free outside of your buildings if folks,
Yes, and I know that not everybody has Wi-Fi at home, and we do have Wi-Fi outside of 3 of our buildings. The North Quincy branch is under renovation right now, so, but the Adams Shore branch, parking lot, you park there, use the Wi-Fi. Wollaston Branch doesn't have a parking lot, but there's probably plenty of street parking right around it right now.
Yes, right.
And the main library, you might have to get closer to the door, sit on a bench to use it, but it does extend outside the building.
Yeah,
So.
just stay 6 feet apart from each other and
Exactly,
it's a
exactly.
big-
Unless it's, your family member that you're living with, then you're
course.
allowed to sit next to each other. But, yeah,
Okay, so can we have a little show and tell?
sure. Let's see. Can you see our website?
See the main website. Yep.
Okay. So this is what you see when you come to thomascraneLibrary.org. We've made a bunch of changes for people who are used to looking at our website. We're basically emphasizing all of our electronic resources.
Right.
So, and right in the center where it says Library News, you can see the highlights, the things I just covered about the late fees being suspended and keeping your materials at home. But we've created 2 new pages to just make it easier for people to find all of our resources. So one is TCPL at Home. The other one is TCPL at Home for Kids. So that I'll show you both of those.
Great.
There's a link right here to getting an online library card if you don't have one. We also have a page where we're putting information about COVID-19 and the crisis in general. If people want to find some reliable information, it's right there. And if you go down a little farther, this is something brand new that we've been working on that we just launched yesterday, our live help desk. Obviously, it's a challenge. We don't have staff in the building. Everybody's at home.
Right.
So trying to organize some channels, ways that the public can reach us and get live personal assistance we felt it was really important, especially for all the folks who may not have ever used our e-resources before, and they need help figuring out how to get them on their devices. So we're here to help you do that and also answer any of the questions you normally would call and ask us, which many people do, and provide community information and referrals. So we have a live help desk. This is the phone number to call, 617-376-1102. And we are staffing at particular days and times, so you'll see that here on the screen too. And we are scheduling staff in teams of 2. So if you call or use our live chat during those hours, we have 2 employees available to field your questions, walk you through getting an e-card or getting an e-book, whatever it is you're interested in doing.
Okay.
If those hours don't work for you, we have our Ask a Librarian form, and you can also just send us email, and we have staff monitoring that all the time and responding. So let me show you just quickly the TCPL at Home page.
Sure. And it's important to point out this is not just for Quincy residents, right, Megan? It's for everyone.
Some of our resources are just for Quincy residents, and some
okay.
of them are not. It depends. So this just, again, gives you a link to get the free e-card, the link to send us an email, and then the rest of this are just quick links to take you directly to online audiobooks, ebooks, magazines, etc. And some other information you might be interested in.
Great. I know parents will be very grateful for a lot of this.
Yes. And then I'm just going to go back home again.
Yep. So just click on the crane, right, to go back home.
Just click on the crane in the upper left. Okay. And for our TCPL at Home for Kids, we know all the kids are home with mom and dad and maybe grandparents now. So keeping them engaged and keeping the learning going is important. So again, we have links to ebooks, e-magazines, etc.
Great.
And then also our children's librarians are putting together all kinds of resources. Most of these are free for anyone.
Okay.
A lot of cultural institutions and artists and performers are providing all kinds of free content online for anyone to use. So we're just sort of curating and gathering together the best of here. So you can see some of it's learning oriented. We have some early literacy activities for the wee ones. So there's a lot to do online for kids and families.
Yeah, this is just great. I mean, really, you've kind of, you're filling in the gap really where the school system, left off when they were forced to close. And I know that they'll be gearing up at the Quincy Public Schools also, but this is just fantastic.
Yes, the schools are certainly working hard as well. And I know they're providing lots of enrichment resources for families. The other thing to notice, people will see down on the lower right, the little red box that says questions, contact us.
Yes.
During our live help desk hours, that changes to say questions, chat with us. And if you click on it, you'll be able to go into a live chat with a librarian.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So let's see, what else can I show you? Let's go back. I'm clicking on the crane in the upper left, just taking you home again.
Yep.
If you click on the e-card link,
yes,
that's the page that tells you about, well, this is just the registration page to sign up for an e-card. Yeah.
What would you need an e-card for, Megan?
Well, you need an e-card to get any of the library-funded resources as opposed to free resources that are free online for anyone.
Okay.
So, for example, our Overdrive ebooks, you need a library card for. Access to our streaming music and movies through Hoopla and Canopy. Those are the vendor names, Hoopla and Canopy. You need a library card because those are resources that we pay for with our budget from the city to allow people to access that content.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And an e-card is available to anyone, is that right?
Yes, an e-card is available to anyone.
Okay.
And you just fill in your information on that form that you just saw that includes your address. And if you live in Quincy, we'll see that you live in Quincy, and it gives you access to some of the things that only Quincy residents get access to.
Oh, very good. Okay. So this might be an opportunity. I'm just trying to look at the silver lining. You might get some new patrons that maybe had not used the library in the past.
Well, I certainly hope so. It's a great resource for people, and not everybody can afford to subscribe to Netflix or some of the other online, paid resources. And there's certainly there are certainly free ebooks online that you don't need to pay for, like from Gutenberg Project and classics and things that are out of copyright. But if you want to read the latest bestsellers, you can't get those for free, except at the library.
That's right.
So the other thing I'd like to show people is the other way to find all of this online content. If you look at the very top where it says books, music, and movies, each one of them has a section that says either read now. You'll see on this one it says read now. On music, there's a listen now.
Great.
And movies, there's a watch now.
Super, yeah.
And those links will take you right to the options, the online options that we have. So let's just look at movies for a moment.
Okay.
So what this will show you is it will give you information about our different options, Hoopla, Canopy, and Overdrive, and what's in them. But we also have right at the very top here these 3 boxes that you see. Those are actually little online videos, video tutorials
Oh,
that you
okay.
can watch. They're short, just a few minutes long,
Yeah.
but they'll walk you through each of these and how to use your library card to sign up for it.
Oh, super. Okay.
So we have those in each of the sections too.
That's great. I am
So
absolutely.
if you're the do-it-yourself type and you're not sure you want to live chat with the librarian or call us on the phone, you can try watching one of these video tutorials first and see if you can figure it out on your own.
Yeah, that could be a learning process all by itself.
Yes.
I am absolutely amazed at how much material you and your staff have been able to put together in a relatively short period of time to offer to folks. This is quite a valuable and really rich resource.
Well, a lot of it was here already.
Okay.
So we're just trying to make it easier for people who weren't already using it to find it and enjoy it. There really is something for everyone here, all ages.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope people will give it a try if they haven't yet.
I wonder if you'll be able to judge once things going to get back to normal. If this will kind of increase the usage of the online services.
It will be interesting to see what happens in the future. We certainly are thinking longer term, and nobody expected this to happen, obviously.
Right.
And here we're all relying so much on the internet. And obviously, eventually we'll be back in the building and able to provide personal service and print materials again. But we're also thinking that there may be a place for more reliance on online resources in the future.
Yeah.
And we're also thinking in terms of online programming as well, which I haven't mentioned. We've been concentrating getting our live help desk up and running, but we've also been brainstorming about what kinds of online programming we could provide. We've never done that before.
Right.
All our programs have been in the building.
Yeah.
You come in for a movie or a concert or a story time or to hear an author talk. But while we're closed, we want to be able to provide some of that content online as well.
Sure.
So our children's librarians are bubbling over with ideas for ways that they can reach out to kids and families in the city with programs, story times, scavenger hunts, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And our adult librarians too, they're talking about online book discussions and other kinds of programs. So we're right now kind of figuring out what platforms we want to use for that and addressing some of the issues. And again, we're all scattered in our own homes,
Right.
which makes it a bit challenging, but I have an amazing and creative staff, and I'm sure they're going to come up with lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So stay tuned is what
Right.
I have to say to Quincy. And right now, our calendar, we're hiding all of the events that we had previously scheduled because they're not happening. But as soon as we start having some online events, we'll be putting those events right into our online calendar.
Okay.
And those events, I'll actually show people. I'm going back to the homepage. And you'll see on the left side where it says upcoming events, right now it just says library closed, library closed. That's a feed from our calendar.
Yep.
As soon as we start putting in some of our online events, you'll start seeing those show up in the feed right here on the front page.
Okay, great.
So, and people can also go to the events and classes and click on our events calendar and they'll be able to see our events.
Super. Yeah, that'd be something they could print out and stick up on the refrigerator so they know what's going on.
Yes, and we're looking forward to engaging people through online programming as well.
Yeah. Are you utilizing social media at all, Megan?
Oh, yes. We have several social media channels, so that's another good way to find out what's happening at the library. You can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Yes.
Okay.
We also we will be sending out a newsletter, and
Oh.
you can sign up to get our newsletter by email. And
Okay.
there's a link right on the homepage at the bottom to subscribe to our newsletter. So that would be another way for people to find out what's being planned.
Okay, great. And I'm thinking too, obviously being a library, you're going to want to document this whole episode, for future research, so folks can see what happened and how you folks dealt with it here in Quincy. So I'm sure that's part of the thinking process too.
Yes, it definitely is.
Yeah.
This is obviously a very unique period in history.
Right.
And it's a little different for every community.
Mhm.
And we are definitely going to be reaching out and asking residents to share their stories about how they're getting through this and how it's affecting them. And we want to gather that because that is part of the community's heritage.
Exactly. Yeah. How are you?
It's weird to call it heritage since it's happening right now, but
That's
it's
right.
going to be the community's heritage. So
Exactly.
we think it's important to capture it. So
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes.
How are your other colleagues in surrounding communities addressing this? Is it? Have you talked to them at all about this?
I'm sorry, I'm like getting a lag. So I
Let me ask again. I was just wondering if you've talked to your colleagues in other surrounding communities in the public library system about how they're addressing this.
Well, librarians are famous for sharing. We're all about resource sharing. So I will say the whole library community, statewide and nationally, is abuzz. Everyone is communicating, sharing ideas and resources and advice, and there's a lot going on. And so yes, that helps too, even though with all of our logistical challenges, the fact that there are so many people sharing their ideas and things that they're trying out. So it's a learning experience for all of us.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to know we still can learn, I suppose, at any age. I guess that's the overall lesson, right?
Well, I feel like the way we're going to get through this crisis and recover is to stay connected to our culture, to stay connected to learning, and stay connected to our community. And we're all isolated in our homes right now. Luckily, we have the internet. And you think about if this had happened 20, 30 years ago, it would have felt very different.
Yes, we could talk to each other, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yes, so being able to communicate and see people, it makes a huge difference, and it's a way we can try to keep connected with people. So, and I feel the library really has an important role to play locally in all of that. We can help keep people connected to culture and keep people entertained and keep people learning, including kids who are having their schooling disrupted, and want to keep people engaged and also just still feel connected to your community. And certainly I know my staff misses being in the building, and they miss helping people and seeing people who come into the building every day. So but we're still here. We're still here for you.
Absolutely. Again, thomascranelibrary.org is the main website to go to. And Megan, anything else you'd like to share?
Just give us a call. The staff would like to hear from you. So call our help desk and let us help you use some of all these great resources.
Okay, well, we appreciate you spending some time to show it to us here at QATV, and hopefully we'll be able to reach out to the community. If we can do anything more in the future, please call on us and we'll make it happen.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. To you and your staff, very happy, healthy April. We'll chat soon, Megan.
Same to you. It's spring, and spring is a time of hope. So let's all keep our hopes up.
Absolutely. All right, be well.
Same to you.
Thanks for watching At Your Library. I've been your host, and I look forward to joining you again next month. Until then, I hope to see you online. Please stay safe, keep washing your hands, and practice safe physical distancing.